Who are the birds talking to? Maybe a mate themselves. It could be an intruder, or maybe they're talking to us. It's fun to see if you can figure this out. And today we're going to stretch our listening to see if we can hear who the birds are talking to and learn a little bit about their relationships in the process. Hey friends, welcome back to the Mindful Bird Sit. If you're new here, I'm Kristi and I help people connect deeply with birds and nature while elevating their skills in the process, boosting their confidence, and falling in love with life. If that's something you want to do, be sure to subscribe and stick around. All right, let's get started. So go ahead and just let yourself settle into wherever you are, whether you are inside or outside. And both will be just perfect for today. If you are indoors, please do crack a window if you can, or just open a window, I mean, not crack it, but open it so that you can hear and be present to the world outside, because we will be using our ears for today's practice. And it would work with sometimes we can use human-made sounds indoors, but today, because it's the 100th bird sit, I thought we would specifically focus on bird sounds today. So if you can open your window, if you're inside, looks like a lot of you are outside. So well done. And all right. So let yourself just settle into your place right now, taking a nice deep breath in and then letting it go, pushing all the air out, intentionally forcing the air out of your body. And then just allow it to rush back in, just effortlessly. Let it fill your lungs as full as you can, and then another deep exhale completely. And then one more time, allowing the air just to flow naturally back into your body. Beautiful. So you can let yourself follow this nice rhythm of exhaling and allowing yourself to receive the breath from the earth around you. Just experiencing what it's like to receive, not have to create or give or do. You're just here to receive today. So let yourself just fall into that experience of receiving. And while we're sitting here, go ahead and just connect to your own breath in the sense of noticing how deep or how shallow your breath is right now, how far it expands when you inhale. If it goes completely full, or maybe just a little bit, maybe there's some tension in your body right now and there isn't a full inhale. And it doesn't matter if it's full or not, just a chance for you to notice, for you to observe what your experience is this morning. And then now you can slowly start to bring your awareness to your feet or to your bottom, depends on if you're sitting on the ground outside or if you have your feet on the earth, or at least on something that would be connected to the earth. Maybe it's the concrete below your feet or wood. It could be a platform, a deck, whatever it is. Allow your feet to feel that connection with the earth below you right now. Just noticing what that feels like for yourself. Imagining that big, slow moving Mama Earth energy holding you up right now. Again, another opportunity to receive. Something else you don't have to do. The earth is doing it for you. And just receive that gift in this moment. And so now go ahead and focus your eyes, your vision on something in front of you. So some of you may want to look at something about 10, 15 feet away. Others may choose to look at something quite a distance away, but whatever it is, find one point to focus on. So for me, I'm looking at a big pine tree right now, and there's a pine cone hanging down from there. So I'm going to focus on that pine cone. It might be a building, a piece of a building for you, whatever it is, just find that one focal point. And then from there, without moving your gaze, without moving the direction that you're looking, go ahead and expand your vision. So slowly, like ripples, you're going to stretch your vision further and further and further out in all directions, both right and left, and also up and down. And for some of you, you might experience that as you're looking uh, in this softened gaze, we call this owl eyes. So as you're looking with this softened gaze, that your vision starts to become a little blurry. And that's perfect, actually. You can just allow yourself to fall into that blurry vision. And for anyone who just joined, we're just starting to ground ourselves in our seat right now, both indoors and outdoors. And we're focusing on one point off in the distance, and then allowing our vision to expand and see how far you can stretch that vision of yours. Can you really stretch it to the right and left as far as you can go, and then up and down at the same time? Again, allowing it just to become nice and soft, even a little blurry. And then as you do this, start to notice what might shift for you, or what you might become aware of. So is there any subtle motions that you become aware of when you're looking in this softened gaze? And if you do, just allow them to be there. You may choose to focus on that movement. You may choose just to allow it to be. If you do focus, then after you acknowledge whatever it is, you can bring your eyes back to that softened vision again. And when you're in owl eyes like this, see if you notice anything shifting in your own body. Does your heart rate slow down a little bit? Do you become just a little bit softer, just like your vision? And now, if you're able to, stay in owl eyes while we stretch our listening. So first, we're going to take in the entire soundscape, so the symphony around us. So just let yourself listen to the whole picture right now without focusing on any one particular sound. Are you able to hear the quiet and soft instruments along with the really loud and more prominent instruments in the landscape around you? And then remembering those voices and those sounds that fall somewhere in between the loudest and the softest. And they may be human-made sounds as well, and that's just perfect right now. We're just trying to get a sense or a pulse on our particular soundscape, this unique space in time right now. And now slowly start to tune your ears to the bird sounds. So it's not important today whether you know who is making a song or call, but just start to listen to all the sounds that are uniquely bird. So we're going to start to gently tune out the human-made sounds. Maybe if there's a dog barking or a cat meowing, other sounds, we'll start to slowly tune those out and really start to hone your attention to the bird sounds. Now, for some of you, there might be quite a diversity of sounds around you, and others it might be a bit quieter. I know where I am, it just got kind of quiet, and so there's only one or two different voices, and that's just fine. We will be focusing on just one voice in just a moment, but for now, see how many different voices you can hear all around you, and don't forget to listen behind you as well. Even if you have a house behind you, see if you can stretch your listening behind you. That's great. And so now I'd like you to slowly start to pick out just one voice, one unique voice amongst all the others. So see if you can just find one bird song or call and really hone your focus onto that song or call. And while you do so, do your best to listen for what makes it unique and distinct. Are there pitch changes? Are there pauses in the song or call? Is there a unique rhythm that you can hear? Just let yourself absorb into that sound. And now take just a moment and notice where in your own body do you feel that sound. So when that sound is made, is there a particular part of your body that there's a connection with? And for some of you, this might be a stretch, and that's okay. Just play with it right now. We're just having fun. We're just playing and experimenting. So see if you can tap into your own body and notice where you might feel that sound resonating within yourself. Good work. And so now that you've gotten really connected to this particular song or call, I'd like you now to listen for any other voices that sound similar and just let yourself stretch into this. So they might be relatively near, there might be multiple voices that sound similar, but also there might not be a nearby sound. So you might have to stretch your listening and see if you can find a distant call that might be repeating or making a very similar sound. So let yourself play with this. We'll be silent for the next couple of minutes while you just explore this. If you are able to find a similar sound, see if you can get a sense of if the sound is like a call and response, or is it more of a reply? Is it like someone's making a call and someone's replying? So is there like a back and forth with the two, or is it more like two individuals that are kind of counter singing or making the same song, kind of defining their space in territory possibly, or maybe something altogether different? And now see if you can stretch your hearing even further and see if there's another one, another individual or multiple individuals that are a little bit further away. So maybe there's one that you're listening to that's relatively close, and and maybe you found its partner or its buddy or its its comrade, whoever it may be. Uh, but now see if you can find a voice that's a bit further, maybe off in the distance somewhere, that has a similar tone, a similar, yeah, just a similar voice to it. Nice work. So now shift your attention to a new sound, a new song or call, and follow the same process. First, take a moment to really listen and absorb that sound. Know everything you can about that particular song or call. And then once you've done that, then try to stretch and see if its friend or buddy or maybe its its competitor is nearby, and you might be able to hear their voice as well. And just see if you can get the vibe between those two. You know, is it a friendship? Is it a relationship? Is it competitors? What sense do you get in your own body? So I'm going to let you be silent for the next couple of minutes while you explore this. Okay, great. So you can stay with the same bird that you're working with right now, or if the original bird is still nearby and still vocalizing, you can see if there may be any interaction with their voices with the two birds, with if they're two distinct species. And maybe it's the two you're listening to, but it might be another one. See if there's any interaction interspecies and intraspecies. So we were listening to like the same species, and now see if there might be any relationship between when one vocalizes from one species and another may vocalize. Maybe they're completely independent of each other, but maybe there's some kind of pattern or relationship with the two of them. Good work, everybody. For me, I know this is super fun to let myself sink into the world of the birds in this way. So take the next few moments to offer a blessing or gratitude to the ones that you connected with this morning in your own way. Okay, great work. Well, thank you everybody for joining today and for playing, for just exploring the world of bird sound. And if you didn't have any birds around you today for some reason, and if it was quiet, that's perfectly fine as well. Just remember what we did here and bring this practice into your next birding experience or next time you're sitting on your back porch and give yourself the gift of that time, of taking time to really listen to one voice and then seeing if there's another and then another and seeing if there's relationships and it does take a little while to listen for this and let that expand and let your ears explore the world around you. But I always find something interesting that I haven't known before about either bird relationships or their vocalizations when I do this. So I hope you can take this with you wherever you go. And for those who want to stay around for our chat, you're welcome to do so. And anyone who needs to head out, thank you for coming. It was great to see you, especially all those new folks who decided to come today. It was really nice to have you here and whatnot. So, hi Karen, it's good to see you. Yeah, so if anyone wants to share about what occurred for them during the sit, just wave your hand and I will call on you. Yeah, Gabrielle, you can start, please. Here we go. Push the button for you. Can you see that now? Try that. I don't know if I can. Let me see
I
if
got,
I can.
I
Oh,
got
you
it.
got it. You got it. Yeah, yeah.
Um, you know, it was so nostalgic because years ago I worked with you and it was about bird identification. And I just had a really hard time with it. My brain just didn't want to get involved. And so I'm on this very same balcony and I was laying down and I had this experience of just being blanketed by the birds. And so when I started years later with you on this, that's the experience I love about birding was just getting into that heart space. Um, so today it was subtle, but it wasn't, it was just very, very subtle, the sounds. But I got, I've been sick for a week. And this is the first time I've been outside in a week. And it was just so heartwarming to just listen to the birds and definitely got some communication and definitely gone one upmanship with, I don't even know if it was the same species or not, but it was just delightful. So I really wanted to let you know how much I love this particular way of working um,
Yeah.
with the
Thanks.
bird.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Gabrielle. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can geek out like the best of them for sure and get super nerdy about bird stuff and ID, but I also have just as much love for connecting with the natural world and with birds in particular in this way, where it doesn't matter who the heck you're looking at or listening to. You don't, who cares about the ID, but just absorbing ourselves in the moment with them, in their experience, and participating. It's like being a participant in the wild world with the creatures that are around us, and yeah, yeah.
I find this is a wonderful way to start my week.
It really is, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Well, I hope you're feeling better now, Gabrielle, and sorry you were sick.
Yeah, well, it was one of those Christmases,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Great. Who else would like to share their experience and or experience from the last couple of years if you have anything you want to offer of just about the bird sits in general, but today's practice as well. Yeah, Karen, please. And then Linda after that.
Hi, so good to see you.
Oh, too. It's been so long.
In all honesty, I have no idea how I didn't know about these every week. Because I follow you like crazy, and I'm always sitting out listening to the birds anyway. But today was really great. I went for a walk very early, and one of my first things always on my walk is what's the first bird I hear? Like I walk out, I take a break, I listen. What do I hear? My mom, who's passed, is always the chickadee and my dad is the nuthatch. And those maybe because I'm listening for them harder, but those are always the two I hear. And today, no chickadees at this time, but definitely had the nuthatch this morning. And also had a lot of scrub jays. And I loved that connection you made between when you said like, okay, listen, and then who else is talking with them? Is there a connection? And it got really quiet for a little while and then the scrub jays started, rap, 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 and all of a sudden the nuthatches who were just like pipping boop, boop, back and forth a little bit, all of a sudden it was more of that manure, 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 and then they got all quiet again. And so it was really fun. Like I don't know that I've thought about that. So thank you for that. That was great to like connect those two together and go, oh yeah, I think they were paying attention to one another for sure. So yeah, it was good. It's always lovely to sit out and just listen for the birds. It does wonders for the soul.
Totally. Well, thank you so much, Karen. I'm so stoked that you're here, and I feel honored that you were able to receive something from today because you're an incredible
Oh,
naturalist in your own right, and yeah, just that you had something to receive this morning is such a beautiful, wonderful thing.
that was great. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks
glad
for
to be
being
here.
here. Yeah, I am too. I am too. Yay. Sweet, thank you. All right, Miss Linda.
Okay. Well, this morning we had fresh snow last night, and I expected it to be kind of quiet, but it hasn't been. It's been really full of birds. And I thought the part that really struck me that was really interesting was when you had us listen for similar sounds. And so I had some chickadees, about six or seven chickadees that were doing not their dee but their cheep, cheep, cheep that they do when they're just kind of quiet in the winter. So I heard them and they sounded very similar to a downy woodpecker. And I knew it was a downy because I saw it. So, and then from a distance, the one from a distance, and initially it sounded similar and it turned out to be a red-breasted nuthatch, which, typically they go meh, meh. But for some reason, it sounded at a distance, it sounded similar. So I had three of them that were, for a few seconds there, that were really similar. And it was just very cool to hear the similarities, in the birds. I hadn't noticed that before. Um, and then as far as these bird sits, they've just been life changing for me. They've just um, soaking yourself soaking myself up into nature through the birds has just been wonderful. It's opened up a whole new world, a whole new way of experiencing nature. And it reminds me of when I was a kid. That's how I did it when I was a kid, through the senses, what you hear, smell, taste, feel. Um, it just opens up a whole new milieu to soak yourself up in. And it's just been wonderful. And it's also been foundational for me for studying birds more and getting to know birds more and doing the whole master's course. I mean, without these bird sits, that would have appealed to me, but I would have thought, well, that's beyond my scope of knowledge or anything, which it is, which is why I'm taking it. So, but it's the bird sits have been for me the introduction, the foundation, the doorway, and I love it. And I can do them even here. I live in Northwest Montana, where it's really cold and dark in the mornings in the winter, and I still hear birds now. I can sit outside even in the dark. It doesn't get light here until probably around close to 9 at this time of year. I mean, where it's really light, I mean, there's some light, um, because we're so far north, but that's the blue jays have arrived. But I can still hear them even in the dark, like at 7 in the morning. I can still hear birds out there, juncos and chickadees. And so it's been this birds that I've been doing them since the start, way back when you had your For the Love of Birds. Yeah, so I started doing the bird sits as soon as you had them after those stopped. And they've just been wonderful. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thanks, Linda, so much. Beautiful, beautiful stories. Yeah, I always, and I feel inspired by your stories in particular, just knowing that you're in a very cold region, both you and Joy, up there in the north, um, knowing that you two are going out and doing, your practice and whatnot. It just sort of, it's like, all right, if they can do it, anybody can do it. It's like you guys
Right.
have the fewest birds that are out, like it's cold and rough and yeah, my birds down here have already started to sing, like, and it's not just kind of like, oh, maybe they're singing. It's like, no, they're singing now. Like they're actually like doing their like spring songs here already. So,
Oh,
um,
yes.
but yeah, it's just like what a beautiful, I don't know, I love having that connection with you in a different part of our world. Thanks, Linda. I appreciate that. All
Oh, you
right, who
bet.
else? Yeah, yeah, thank you. Who else would like to share? Joy, please, and then Jacinth. Yeah, thank you.
No birds this morning at all. I'm inside, but I was able to have the window wide open because it's mild, but it's raining and snowing mix, very mild for the time of year here. Um, but so I had to use my imagination and try to imagine because I usually have the blue jays and chickadees and few others around. So you're trying to imagine their song that they were singing to me this morning. And yes, I can carry that practice through because that was lovely the way you did it today. I really enjoyed that. And yes, I've been with the bird sits from the beginning as well, and I just love it too. Just everything that Linda said. It's kind of like an oasis in the middle of the week or the beginning of the week, and you just carry on. Leaves me feeling so calm and connected to everything and It's really given me a feeling of the outside space as well as I have my house, but then that extends now to the outside more than it did before. It's all part of where I am and who I am, and I find that just so inspiring, really. And so yeah, I'm loving it. So I just want to say thank you so much, Kristi, for doing this every week. It's just been amazing. Okay.
Oh, yay, yay. That's so great, Joy. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful. Jacinth, please. Let me see. I can give you the little button. Oh, you got it.
Now I'm in the universe now. I changed my background,
I
but
like that.
I'm in this space. Yeah, but I wanted to express some gratitude also for those bird sits. I can't be here as much as I would like to, but yeah, whenever I can catch one, it's great. And yeah, so I'm in Canada in the Quebec province, so I there's only a few birds in the winter, but they're there. You can see them sometimes, and but yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm very inspired by what you do, Kristi, and I've started doing some nature walks with the students because I work at the college in my city, and yeah, like in the at lunchtime we go out once in a while, maybe about once every couple of weeks, and there's like a nature park behind the school, so we go out, and I've been like asking them questions just like you do. I'm like, oh, can you hear something far? Can you hear something close? Or can you see something far and close? And at first I thought I would make it very structured, and then at the end it just turned out to be, well, let's just walk and see if we can see stuff and hear stuff. And sometimes we would just walk, and sometimes we would just sit, and just like some people said this morning, I think it's great sometimes to go with the identification, and then what's this plant and what's this track and what's this and that. But sometimes it's nice just to actually be there and just feel and just connect. And yeah, especially when you're at school and your head is full of like intellectual stuff. It's nice to actually activate some other senses in your body. So yeah, it's great. So I wanted to express gratitude for that. And yeah, and actually just last week, and I did like a last one, well, a bit more than about 10 days ago. I did a last one with the students before Christmas, and we're walking there and looking like at deer tracks on the ground in the snow. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, what did I just hear? Like, is that a robin? And I know it can't be. I mean, it's Christmas. And then I look at the tree and like, it is a robin. And I'm like, what is it doing there? Like, is it not migrated? Like, why is it still there? And then, yeah, we looked at it, and it's like, yeah, it's a robin, and it was singing, and it's like, okay, so I guess it's still there. And then I kind of look it up on the internet, and apparently some of them stay for the winter. I guess they come from like further up north from the province, and they actually migrate down, and they kind of stay in this area apparently. So yeah, and even like a few days ago I saw some more like close to my place here. I saw like a group of like 20 of them. They were in a tree and they were singing, and I'm like, okay, so I guess there's lots of robins here this winter, and it's actually the first time that I've seen that. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I probably wouldn't have noticed such a subtle sound or such a subtle thing if I hadn't been practicing these kind of bird sits. So again, thank you so much, and I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah, I'm really glad you're here too. And I think what a gift that you're giving your students, just that invitation to listen to the world, to pause and receive. And you're right, like, because their brains are so full. Sorry for the big plane for a moment. Because their brains are so full of information. It's so easy in our culture now to get information, but it's a lot more challenging. And I think we do oftentimes need permission to to enter the world and not have to gather information, not have to gather data, and just go there and be and notice what it's like to be and to be a part of it all. So what a beautiful thing that you're gifting them. And also, I just think what a cool moment with the robin. I think it's always great when students can see their teacher get excited about something, because maybe all those students knew that robins migrate in the winter, but maybe some of them didn't. And the fact that you got interested and curious and like, what the heck? And like now that just taught them something about their world and maybe made them wonder about it and stretching their experience and knowledge of place. And so what a super cool thing. Yeah, I love the whole story of it. And I remember there was one Christmas bird count I was doing in when I lived in Durango in Colorado, and it was a year, and I remember it was like foggy. It was kind of like a cold, like icy, foggy morning. It was like a very, very cold bird count. We were just freezing doing it, and we were walking down this canyon, and I look up, and I got a small little glimpse of them, but it was more that I heard them. It was a whole flock of robins that were flying overhead, but they were hard to see because it was like in the fog and whatever. And but I still have that memory like etched in my mind of these winter robins in Colorado. And I just thought, I was like, wow, that's so cool. They just went by. And anyway, it was great for the bird count too. People like, wow, robins, that's so cool. Yeah, yeah, awesome, Justin. Thank you, thank you. That's great. Yeah. Anyone else want to share a story? Yeah, Jackie, please. Yep.
Sun's right in my eyes. But oh gosh, I have also been doing this since the Love of Birds Festival, and very much on and off, but it's just been so wonderful. And I've been into birding since my late 20s and meditation as well. And yet I'm so, this has just been one of the richest experiences, of pulling it all together. And I always get something every time we meet that is really lovely or valuable for me in some way. And my computer's about to die, but I just want to thank you so much. And everybody has such, rich experiences to share. And I just love that. And for those who didn't hear last week, I said, what I want to do starting the new year is to rewatch from the very beginning. So I want to do this every morning and start from the beginning and come forward, and then just sort of make a note of my observations, just because, there's been so many great tidbits that you just want to remember. And I'm sure I've forgotten a bunch of them, but also just to see how what we've already done has impacted me, and how I'm different now than I was when I first started. So I just wanted to share that. I hope some of the others of you will be doing it, and I can know we're sharing that experience. So yeah, thank everybody, and especially Kristi. Just so much love to all of you.
Yeah, Jackie, thank you. I forgot about that. That's so inspiring. I love that idea of, it's just they often say that it takes a couple like 3 months or so to build a practice within yourself. And so, that 100, it would be like 100 days. So it's my Chinese doctor used to always have us do that whenever he like wanted us to have a certain practice in our life, or try a new diet out or something like that, try a new herb in your diet. He's like, do it for 100 days. It was always like 100-day kind of a thing. So yeah, that seems like a really powerful number to try something for. So well done, Jackie. I'm excited to hear how that goes for you and any notes you have to share with us,
All
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
you together. Yeah. Thank
Yay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Any last? Yeah, please, Julia. Yes.
Well, I've been here since the beginning, I think, too, since that bird festival. Um, and it's been a blessing for me. I really appreciate that you hold the space so that we really are free to do whatever we want to do, because, this morning, I mean, at the moment we started our process, it's absolutely silent here. So and I'm not good at following orders, so but I've still gained from it something, you know um and just like this morning, uh when I first came out here, there all the house sparrows in the county were in my yard, in my shrubs, and they were just chattering. And I mean, I had this impression, they're those are not flocks, those are gangs of sparrows, you know. But I was reflecting, starting to think about it. I don't think I have ever seen a lone house sparrow. Uh, and when they come to the feeders, there's a whole bunch of them. There's not just one, where other birds there might be just one at a time, or a pair, maybe friends. But that was, you know, that was just a fun thought for me that I wouldn't have had if we weren't doing this. So, yeah, and you do know what you're doing, not just about birds, but about meditation and all. And I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Julia. That your words mean a lot to me. Thank you so much. Yeah. And I always love when people have cool experiences with like house sparrows or starlings or whatever the birds that oftentimes people want to just like growl at. And I think because they can be some of our best teachers, and yeah, just thinking about them being very communal, and they do have really strong bonds with each other, and that sort of that need to be together. um, yeah, I hadn't really thought much about that before, and thinking like, have I seen one by itself before? And even if it's like maybe in a parking lot or something, but there's always another one like nearby, like you might just see that one, but there's inevitably another one not too far from it. And yeah, yeah. But thank you for your words, and yeah, it's really really great to have you around with us, and doing your thing, however you do it. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, Della, please go for it.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking this morning as we were doing this practice about, how much I've learned along the way, and how it truly is a practice. It's not something that I can just learn and then move on to something else. It's and I've learned, and I'm learning, I should say, and I haven't learned, but to see more clearly and to listen more clearly, and it's just it's a practice, and something that I'm sure that we never really accomplish, but we just keep working on it. This is a great way to start out my week, which reminds me to slow down and listen and look. And I just thank you for that. It's been great. I can't wait for your next class. Of course, there again, people ask me, well, how come you're taking birdsong for the fourth time? And I say, well, it's kind of like violin. You wouldn't stop taking violin lessons, would you? You would continue on so that you can perfect what you're doing. So that was the analogy I was making. But love it. Looking forward to 2025.
Yay! Thanks, Della, so much. Thank you. Yeah, so Anne, please, please,
Just,
please.
just real quick, happy anniversary. And I wanted to extend a compliment. I was in California when you did your first bird sit after your New Mexico trip. And yes, Stella, I got to survive my first tsunami warning. Okay. Yes. Thank goodness my kids hadn't left yet. And so we got to plan for that. But that Monday, 8:30 comes pretty early on the West Coast. So I was dragging. So that afternoon, we were scrolling through my YouTube, and my son said, "Oh, is that your bird lady? So you're my bird lady. My husband calls you the bird lady." And I said, "Yeah." And so I flipped, and there was the bird sit from that morning. And I put it on, and he said, he's sitting on the couch. He says, "She's got a really nice voice. She's good at that." And pretty soon his head, he was asleep. But they had been traveling. So But I wanted to tell you, you're leaving an impression, a lot of places. So thank you.
Thank you, Anne, for that. Yeah, maybe I should go into like telling bedtime stories or something like that. I can help people fall asleep. Just start talking for 2 minutes and then they'll fall asleep. That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Anne. I really do appreciate your words. Yeah, that's great. Well, for me, I just want to say myself, that when I was first thought about doing these, I know I had a lot of hesitation because this kind of approach to birding is something that I really had only done for myself and on my own. It was something that it's edgy to share this kind of stuff, I think, in our culture. And not that people don't want it or need it or love it. I just think that when you start to leave the world of details and data, there can be some judgment and whatnot. And so I think I always hesitated sort of opening that door and sort of letting people into that part of my life. I was like, no, that's just something I'm going to do on my own. I'm going to do these practices and these things, but I'm not going to tell anybody else about it. Maybe sort of sneak it into my master's course, but even that, I'm just going to sort of like sneak it in there and whatnot. So yeah, this for me has been just a gift in so many ways because it's brought my own practice. It's elevated my own practice because every week I'm forced to be like, okay, like what are we gonna do? And so I have to listen in a different way and in a more expanded way. And so yeah, I think because of you all, it's like it is this beautiful. It's like a butterfly wing, like my teacher once said. It takes like each side of the wing to flap to create this beautiful third thing in the middle. And so I feel like we're each a side of the wing, and I couldn't do this without you, and thank you for allowing me to be here as one side of that wing. And then I think together we all create this third beautiful thing that feeds all of us and others, hearing Jacintha's story about her students and your family, Anne, and whatnot. And so it's like, yeah, I just think this is a beautiful thing that we're all doing together. So thank you, everybody, for 100 beautiful sits. And I am excited for more to come. And I wish all of you a very beautiful, happy, joy-filled new year. And we'll see you in 2025. All right. Have a beautiful week, everybody. Bye.